Hello, and welcome to this honestly pretty serious video. As you can tell, for a highly edited, or a relatively well edited video such as this, there is no intro, and there's not going to be any fancy intro, and I'm not even going to put my channel logo at the end of this video, because I feel like this is more serious and more personal. I'll also state that this is not a beware. Even though when you look at the title of this video and you look at the thumbnail, it may seem like one of those bewares that furries are known to make, but this isn't a beware, because it's more of a personal story, personal experience, and a desire for closure and emotional compensation. Because for this to be aware, I have to accuse somebody of something that they may or may not have done based on the veracity of my receipts, or of the veracity of one's receipts. However, for this to be a beware, I would have to say something pretty heinous about the Furries of New England Discord server, to which I will not. In fact, I will try to remain as calm and as level-headed throughout this video, and is kind of the reason why I've not said anything about this, at least publicly, in such great detail since my removal from that server back in late April, early May, I think. So, it is August, and it is time to discuss the Furries of New England server incident. So, let's start at the beginning. I joined the Furries of New England Discord server sometime around late November, early December. I think it was early December. I wanted to join the Furries of New England Discord server largely because I decided to become a furry. And I wanted to ingrain myself in the furry community, and I wanted to do so in a way that sort of allows me to immerse myself in the community fully and properly. However, I then came across the Furries of New England Discord server, which I liked and had loved for a variety of different reasons. One of them was that it was local, right? It's not a bunch of weirdos spread around across the country and the world as you do on the internet. It's a bunch of furries that are localized within this weird region of the Northeast United States. And I joined that for those reasons. And I joined around early December, and I remained a member up until late April, upon which I was banned. In January, I made a transgression where I discussed NSFU and not safe for work topics in parts of the server that were not designated for not safe for work content. I did apologize to the server staff. However, the server staff decided to corner me as I was going to bed that night, and gave me a lot of heartache, and led to a really troubled night of sleep that night. All because they either decided not to table it for the next morning, where I would be available, or earlier in the day, closer to when the transgression happened. I learned that even though I said that I was sorry and decided to take a self-imposed, optional, multi-week-long exile from the server, the community decided to turn their backs against me. They gave me the silent treatment. And as it turned out, the Furries of New England server do not like it when you apologize for something. They rather you be a perfect citizen or else. And as such, the silent treatment started off slow, but then grew over the years. Well, over the months, actually. Sorry about that. And gradually, slowly but surely, I started to make more mistakes on the server. This was largely because I felt a little uncomfortable by the original transgression that I had made, and the server was just making me feel like a complete stranger in a community that I wanted to integrate myself into. And eventually it got to the point where I crashed out on the server over the Star Fox games, because I thought, the hyper-realistic, creepypasta graphics that game has for its character designs I don't think they're all that too bad. But to see the furry community go against something that had to do with anthropomorphic animals and be against them so vehemently made me upset. And I shouldn't have crashed out. And I am apologizing for that. However, I also went off on a server member named Hollow, because I forgot the second part of his Discord username, but I went off on him, and I shouldn't have, but I was in a really troubled place, mostly because the server decided that I was no longer welcome, and they were going to continue to make me feel unwelcome through any means necessary outside of banning. And then another user, after I complained about the silent treatment that the server had been giving me in their designated server channel relating towards ranting and venting, which was the appropriate place to put this, Sleepy J made some rather disparaging comments about the situation, which are on screen right now. As you can tell, he is not a very friendly person, and he had decided that because I had broken an important server rule that I had apologized for, and that I was willing to move on from, and to ask for the server's forgiveness, and in return, my honest attempt to do better as a person, the server instead rejected me. They decided that I was no longer welcome in their server, and I knew I was unwelcome in the server, so I requested that the server staff give me a consequence. Because I feel like I had wronged the server despite my abilities, despite my want to do better. I asked for a punishment, and they decided that the punishment was tantamount to a ban, and I was banned. The following several months were spent with many meetings with my therapist, whom I had shared the messages that Sleepy J had made, and she made comments such as the fact that Sleepy J sounded very uneducated in her words in his tirade against me in those 2 posts that I had saved. The server, for my time being there, has caused me a considerable amount of emotional harm, and I ask for reconciliation. I have 10 points. They will be listed in a point later in this video in an edited segment with post-production Sir Top and Hackerai, and a copy of said 10 points will be in a pinned comment below this video. Also, these 10 points are based off of President Woodrow Wilson's, 7-8 points for peace after the First World War. This is not an insignificant allusion or an allegory for whatever the term is. This is because I want peace. I want peace and I want closure. I want to put the Furries of New England server behind me. I want to put that community behind me, and I want to look for greener pastures. But to do that first, I must ask publicly for reconciliation on behalf of either the server owner Mechobree, or their server moderation team, any member of which will do. If you wish to reach out to me, you know my Discord. You know who I am on Discord, and you can reach out, and we will negotiate the terms based on this 10-point plan. Secondly, I also want to make a public admission that this server is not a friendly and not a very open place. Despite being publicly available to all furries within the New England region of the northeastern United States, this place is riddled with toxicity and server-maintained cliques. If you are not a part of the in-group, the server will find ways to punish you through soft means. This includes giving you the silent treatment. It means not putting emojis on cool pictures that you post. It means not engaging with the art that you make. It means that they will shun you, and they will act silently when you join the voice chat channel. And the moment you make an infraction on their server, that gives them the war goals, the casus belli, if you will, to treat you as horribly and as unfairly as they want. Mechobree, I am sorry for the things that I did that caused the server to hate me and caused the server and caused my eventual banning in disgrace. However, I have apologized. It is now your turn to return the favor and apologize for the actions of your server and your server members. I also ask for negotiation on this 10-point plan, either on your behalf, either by yourself or by a server moderator. This includes various points, including the fact that my ban will remain intact. I do not wish to rejoin your server. I do not wish for my ban to be revoked. All I ask is that everybody tries to do better, that you should run a better server that is more open, more friendly, and less toxic. Because the furry community has something to learn from the Toho Project community that I've been a part of since this channel's foundation. And that is to not be toxic, to be open to as many people as possible within the bounds of your server, that being the New England region and the people that live within it, and that a friendlier atmosphere be put in place on your server. This is listed in point 1, which also includes the formation of a third-party independent commission that will oversee the server in an effort to reduce its toxicity from a fundamental level. I also ask that because you emotionally harmed, either directly through your malice, like Sleepy J did, or through indirect means, such as your management and your administration of the server, I also ask that because you emotionally harmed an autistic person, a person of the special needs community, whom lives in a special needs program, who lives in a special needs group home, who goes to a special needs day program, that all server staff, including its owner, be subject to sensitivity training. These points that I just listed, that will be later be mentioned in post-production, in a post-production scene at the end of this video, are not unreasonable in my eyes. And if you do deem some of these points unreasonable, which I expect you would, they are open to negotiation. Because I am willing to level, and I'm willing to do this diplomatically and with all the integrity that I have in my body. I also may ask that my time on the server be compensated. Because I did spend a good 6 or so months, maybe less, of months of time on that server. And I thought I had made friends. And I thought I had community. Only to realize those things were not. So, I wish you all a happy day. I wish that your server may prosper in all its entirety, and that you may find good deals at the dealer den of your next furry convention that you will attend. As such, the live action portion of this video is now complete, and we will now switch to post-production. Thank you for your time. Hello, this is Post-Production's Topham Hackrai here to discuss the 10-point plan that I would like to discuss with members of the Furries of New England Discord server if they wish to reach out for a diplomatic end to this thing, and if they're open to reconciliation. As such, let's go over the first one. The first point is a public apology on behalf of the server management / moderation team for directly causing emotional harm to a special needs person, and the public announcement of a formation of an independent third-party oversight committee to be formed to reduce server toxicity and to make the server a more open and friendlier place. I feel like this one is very self-evident, because if this is going to be public, as I already have done, I mean, might as well make it public. So I'm sorry for that if that drags anybody under anything, but, like, I'm sorry, them's the breaks. Second is the decommissioning of not safe for work channels within a 3-year time span that can be extended upon review with my consent, but only to a maximum of 4 additional years, since this is where a lot of the trouble started, and this is what became the catalyst for me being banned from the server. The decommissioning of the channels can happen in any way that can be agreed upon in the discussion, and whatever that looks like. The additional extensions can be done either in sections, like if they want a 1-year extension, then a 2-year extension later on, and then after that a one more year extension. That's fine. The 4 additional years is supposed to be super flexible and allow plenty of time for things to be migrated and for things to, be changed to accommodate that. Third is compensation to be paid out in furry-related stickers that will be mailed to a discussed third-party address. So the address will not be my home address, because I do not want the Furries of New England Discord server, at least the moderation team at least, to know my exact address. God forbid they decide to do anything retaliatory. Not that they would, but I also don't want anything wrong to happen in that regard. 4, that my server ban remain upheld for the foreseeable future. That is very self-explanatory. Number 5, that Sleepy J be removed from the server as a main culprit in my emotional harm, and that if banned, be banned for a period of 2 years until a server review on community anti-toxicity be conducted, either by an unaffiliated third party or through the independent third-party oversight committee, whichever one is fine, and then upon which the results of will allow Sleepy J's ban to be reconsidered by a moderation staff. This is also the one point that most of these points are negotiable. I know number 3 and number 5 would probably be not very negotiable and would want to be removed. So I would like some form of compromise be made in that regard. 6, that all Furries of New England events or Furries of New England related events at Anthem New England be coordinated to either be separated from my visit of said convention, either based on location or time. Meaning if I tell you guys that I'm arriving on a Saturday, then you could probably plan any sort of meetups around either Friday or Sunday, for example. That all Massachusetts Furries of New England members, this is point 7, that all Massachusetts Furries of New England members, specifically those from the state of Massachusetts, be recommended to volunteer their time to work with special needs people. This can be done through Seven Hills, it can be done through anything, just so long that the server acquaints themselves with more special needs people. 8, that any content made by Sir Topham Hackaway YouTube channel or the Sir Topham Hackaway Instagram channel chronicling this dispute, either including this video and any future videos, should the situation devolve itself and deteriorate, then upon successful negotiation, such content will be privated or removed from the platform, whichever is more agreeable to the Furries of New England management. 9. That sensitivity training be mandated for all server staff regarding the treatment of special needs persons. And point 10, the final of which, all members of Furries of New England Discord server and the official Topham Hackrai servers be unallowed to join each other's server as mandated by new server rules. Refusal to follow this rule be punishable by ban by either server. This is the 10-point plan. This is open to this is open to consideration. This is open for reconciliation and can be negotiated and compromised on most of these points. And these points will hopefully form the basis for a diplomatic agreement to be reached between me and the server management. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully this video goes out to the right people. I apologize for the potentially inflammatory of the video title in the video thumbnail, but my intention was not to stir up controversy, but rather to ask for some sort of deal that will hopefully close our relationships off and make it so that way we can... Basically, this is like a divorce, right? This is just me divorcing my relationship with the server staff and the server itself, and that we will all move on from this, including myself, whom had been very emotionally hurt by what had transpired on the server. Thank you, and good night.